At my brother's engagement party, I stood up and made an announcement. I was gifting them $10,000 to help with their brand new luxury car. He chuckled and shot back, "Make it 20 grand if you want an invite." I kept my cool, smiled, and calmly pulled the offer off the table. Then I looked him square in the eye and said, "Start packing. You've got 30 days. Right there, in front of 40 people, I handed him an official notice. "Seriously, Ethan?" My brother Mike let out a loud laugh, slicing through the quiet buzz of conversation like a knife. "Make it 20,000 if you want an invite," he repeated, this time louder. Laughter rolled through the room, our cousin smirking, his fiancé's friends exchanging those knowing, amused looks. My face started to burn, the familiar flush of embarrassment creeping in. But I didn't show it. I held that same polite grin I'd worn like armor for years, a mask I'd learned to wear well. Just a few minutes earlier, I had offered them the gift, 10 grand toward their luxury vehicle. It wasn't pocket change. I'd saved up for that, wanting to show I supported them. But Mike? He never saw kindness. He saw an angle, a way to gain an edge. His fiancée, Olivia, stood beside him and gave his arm a light squeeze. Her giggle was uneasy. "Oh, Mike, stop it." "He's joking," she murmured. But one glance at Mike told me otherwise. His eyes didn't show an ounce of playfulness. He meant every word. Across the room, my dad raised his glass and chimed in. "That's right, Danny boy. Always trying to buy your way into things. Some things never change." He grinned wide, all teeth, but those eyes of his? Cold as ice. My mom and sister sat nearby, quietly sipping wine, their eyes locked on the table like they hadn't heard a thing. Ignoring things, that was her specialty. Before continuing the story, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss new and interesting stories, and to like and share this video with your friends. In that moment, the old familiar weight settled on my shoulders again. The same burden I'd been carrying for years. I'd stepped in when Dad lost his job and couldn't pay the bills. I paid for Mom's treatments without a word. Helped Mike through college with loans I knew I'd never see back. Always the fixer. The wallet. The one who played the fool. But not tonight. I cleared my throat, steadying my voice. "You're right, Mike. 10,000 isn't enough." I took out my phone, tapped a few times, and looked him dead in the eye, still smiling. So I canceled it. The whole room froze. Mike's grin faltered, laughter catching in his throat. His friends looked around, unsure. A ripple of whispers began to build. "You what?" he stammered, his confidence draining fast. "I canceled the payment," I said again, louder this time. I turned toward the wall behind me. A big white screen had been set up to show off their engagement photos. But that night, I had something else in mind. I tapped a button on my phone and the screen came to life. Text messages popped up, messages from Mike himself. Stuff like, "I don't even want him there, but Mom's making me invite him." And worse, "Relax. Once he pays for the car, we'll ghost him again. Honestly, he's pathetic. I feel kinda bad, but hey, free money, right?" You could hear a pin drop. The room didn't just go quiet, it turned heavy, like the air had been sucked out. Mike's face turned ghost white. Olivia's hand slipped from his arm. Her mouth hung open, stunned. Gasps spread through the crowd, then silence again. "Ethan," my mother whispered finally, reaching toward me, like she could still stop this. Like she could pull me out of the moment I'd decided not to run from anymore. But I wasn't backing down. Not this time. I stepped forward, making sure every person there heard me loud and clear. "Mike, I'm done. I'm done being your ATM. Done being your punching bag. Done being your fool." I reached into my jacket and pulled out a white envelope, sharp and crisp. "This is your 30-day eviction notice," I said. "You and Olivia have until the end of the month to find a new place and move out of my apartment." Mike's eyes went wide. You can't do this," he sputtered. "You can't just." "I can," I cut him off. "And I will." With that, I set the envelope gently on the table, right next to their untouched glasses of champagne. "Congrats on the engagement," I said, letting the bitterness rise just enough to be heard. "But this is the last time you take advantage of me." Then I turned and walked out, leaving behind 40 stunned guests in the shattered illusion of their perfect little night. I wish I could say the drama ended right there, that I walked away and that was the last of it. That the shock kept them quiet, maybe even ashamed. But people like my family? They don't disappear. They regroup. They get loud. It started the very next morning. Before I was even out of bed, my phone started buzzing. A message from Mom. "How could you humiliate us like that? We're family, Ethan. Family." I didn't answer. 10 minutes later, another one came in. "Your brother is heartbroken. Olivia's family is furious. You need to apologize. Make this right." By the time I had poured myself a cup of coffee, my phone looked like a battlefield. Missed calls from my father. A dozen texts from Mike. Some begging, some nasty. "You ruined everything. You're a jealous little snake. I'll never forgive you." That was one of the first texts Mike sent. And the more I stayed quiet, the more it seemed to provoke them. When I didn't respond, they went public with it. The first blow came from Mom's Facebook page. Family isn't about blood, it's about loyalty. Some folks need a reminder. Her post lit up fast. Distant cousins popped in with comments. Aunts and uncles threw in heart emojis like they were handing out candy. Only one person had the guts to ask what actually happened. That comment disappeared in less than 5 minutes. Then Mike's buddies jumped in. His best friend, Liam, posted a story dripping with drama. Some people just live to ruin others' happiness, he wrote. Olivia, Mike's fiancée, didn't stay silent either. She posted a teary-eyed selfie on Instagram with the caption, "Betrayal hurts worst when it comes from family." I sat there, staring at the screen, feeling that slow, icy burn start to spread through my chest. Still, I didn't say a word. Not yet. Later that night, my phone rang. At first, I almost ignored it, just another number in the chaos. But then I recognized it. Jack, Olivia's brother. We hadn't talked in years, but we'd always gotten along all right. I picked up. "Ethan," he said, voice tight. "I need to know the truth about Mike, about what really happened." I paused, thought about brushing it off. But something in his voice, maybe how tired it sounded, made me decide to tell the truth. I laid it all out. The money, the texts, the way Mike had mocked me behind my back and used me like a bank with legs. Jack went quiet for a second. "I knew it," he finally said, voice low. "I've known it for a while. Olivia's been covering for him." Then he added something I didn't see coming. "I found texts from Mike to her bridesmaids. He's been trying to hook up with 2 of them." I sat down hard, gripping the phone like it might fall out of my hand. "You're serious?" I asked. "Dead serious," Jack snapped. "And I've had it. I'm done letting her live in his lie. I'm going to tell her everything." I didn't stop him. Why would I? What I didn't expect was how fast everything unraveled. The next morning, Olivia's Instagram was gone. Her profile pic was just a gray blank icon. Her Facebook? Deactivated. And our family group chat? Pure chaos. "Mom, Ethan, what did you do?" Olivia broke off the engagement. "Dad, you've gone too far. You've ruined your brother's life. Mike, you're a fraud. I'll make you pay for this." But here's the truth. They kept saying I destroyed his life. I didn't. Mike did that all on his own. And now, I had proof. I pulled out my laptop and logged into the cloud account tied to the security camera in my apartment, the same one where Mike and Olivia had been living for months. The place Mike thought was his private little castle. It didn't take long. I found a clip from about a month ago. Mike was in the living room, laughing with 2 of his buddies. A half-empty bottle of whiskey in his hand. "Dude," he slurred. "Ethan is way too trusting." He laughed, slouched in the chair. "He thinks he's being this great big brother, paying for everything. Always bailing us out." He shook his head, snorted. "The guy's pathetic." One of his friends chuckled. "He's not going to find out, right? You spent the rent money on that watch." Mike shrugged. "Even if he does, he'll give me a guilt trip and pay it off anyway. He always does." I downloaded the video and saved a backup. Then I opened another folder, my receipts. Rent payments, utility bills, little loans here and there. Every dollar I'd sent Mike over the past 3 years. Over $40,000. I pulled it all together, screenshots, text messages, bank records, and that video of Mike laughing at me like I was some kind of joke. It wasn't revenge I was after. It was truth. I was done letting him hide behind a mask, fooling everyone. My phone buzzed again, another text from Dad. "You think you're some kind of hero? You think you're better than us?" I stared at it. And for the first time in a long time, I smiled. I opened Facebook, went to my profile, and started typing. Family isn't just about loyalty. It's about respect. And respect? That has to be earned. I attached the video of Mike mocking me, the screenshots of his messages, and the full list of payments I'd made. Then I hit post. And I watched. The comments blew up within minutes. Relatives started tagging each other. Friends messaged me, some shocked, others supportive. Jack liked the post and dropped a comment. "You did the right thing." They needed to see it. But my family? They went nuclear. Mom called, screaming so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. "How could you do this? How could you shame your own brother like this?" Dad's text came next. Barely readable. "Take it down now. I swear you'll regret this." And Mike? He kept calling. Over and over. When I wouldn't pick up, he finally sent a last message. "You think this is over? You have no idea how far I'll go." I leaned back in my chair, feeling oddly calm. They wanted a war. They had no clue how ready I was for it. I'd barely finished reading Dad's threat when my phone rang again. Mom's name flashed on the screen. For a second, I thought about letting it ring. But some part of me needed to hear her voice. To see if she was still pretending. Still defending him. "Ethan," she said, soft this time. "Can we talk? Just the 2 of us." "Talk?" I asked, leaning back. "You mean about how I'm the traitor? How I ruined Mike's fairy tale?" "No," she whispered. "Not like that. I don't want to fight anymore." She hesitated, then added, "There's a yoga class I go to, and a little cafe next door. Would you meet me there? Just to talk. I paused. Then, strangely, I felt that same sense of calm return. Maybe this was it. The final conversation. Fine. I'll be there, I told her. That yoga place looked like some kind of glass-walled temple, clean, calm, full of soft music and slow breathing. I watched from outside as Mom moved through her poses, all graceful and focused, like nothing in the world was broken. But in my pocket, my phone buzzed with the real story, the video of Mike mocking me, the text where he bragged about using me, his plans to cheat on Olivia, and even that recording of Dad threatening me. Eventually, Mom came out. She smiled like we were just meeting for brunch, dabbing sweat off her face with a towel. Thank you for coming, she said. We walked next door to a little cafe attached to the studio. The place was all plants and peaceful vibes. She ordered some kind of green smoothie. I just got black coffee, no nonsense. I'm glad you're here, Ethan, she started, soft and careful. I just want us to understand each other again, to fix this. Fix this. I leaned forward. How do you fix something that was never right to begin with? Please, she said, her voice a whisper now. Don't be like this. Your brother's hurting. He's struggling. And your father, he's furious I'm not playing along anymore. I cut her off. So that's what this is? You want me to clean up his mess again? She looked down, her face losing color. It's not about sides. It's about family. Family. I laughed, dry and sharp. You mean the same family that used me, turned on me the second I finally said no? Ethan, please, she begged. I'm trying to make peace. But just then, the cafe door swung open, and whatever peace she meant vanished like smoke. Mike walked in first, all cocky like he still ran the show. And right behind him was Dad, wearing that same scowl that used to shut me up as a kid. Mom froze, panic clear on her face. You two weren't supposed to, she started, but Mike cut her off. Save it, Mom, he sneered, pulling out a chair. We figured this little powwow needed a dose of honesty. Yeah, Dad added, sitting across from me. Let's get one thing straight, Danny. You've humiliated this family enough. I looked at Mom, her calm mask gone now. She looked like she was about to fall apart. What? Nothing to say now. Mike smirked. Come on, Mr. Righteous. Got any more stories to tell? I sipped my coffee, letting the heat hold me steady. Stories like you bragging about using me? Or how you called Olivia too dumb to figure it out? Mike's grin faltered, but he still acted tough. Shut up. No one believes you. I don't care who believes me, I said, voice low but solid. I only care about the truth. Dad leaned in, his tone pure venom. Truth is, you're a selfish brat who turned on his own family. You think you're better than us? I think I'm done playing your games. Mike laughed, leaning back. Games? You've always been a joke, man. Just a loser trying to buy respect. That's when I smiled. A joke, huh? I pulled out my phone and tapped a few buttons. The TV screen mounted on the cafe wall, usually showing fitness tutorials, suddenly flicked on. Mike's voice filled the room. Ethan is so damn gullible, he said on screen, drunk and laughing in my apartment. He thinks helping us makes him part of the family. It's honestly pathetic. The whole cafe went quiet. People turned. Mom's hand shot to her mouth. And the video rolled on. Mike, sitting there with his buddies, laughing. Olivia? Please. She actually believes I'm serious. I've got 2 of her bridesmaids lined up already. Mike's face went red. He stepped forward, but I didn't flinch. Don't touch me, I said. Turn that off, he barked, voice cracking. But I wasn't done. I brought up the next file, screenshots of his texts, calling me a walking wallet, laughing about the money I paid for his car, his rent, his messes. Lies, he screamed. You faked those. Oh, I didn't fake this, I said, switching to the audio of Dad. His voice crackled out from the speakers. He's weak, Dad said. Just push hard enough, and he'll fold. Always does. Dad's face went pale. You recorded me? He barked. Nope. You just don't understand how phones work, I said. Mom reached across the table, tears spilling. Ethan, please stop. But I wasn't finished. I turned to Mike. You think you're clever? You're a coward who hides behind charm and lies. Then to Dad. And you've only ever cared about control. Nothing else. Finally, I looked at Mom. And you never stood up for me. Not once. Stop, she whispered. Please. But it was too late. The truth was out and standing in the middle of that cafe for everyone to see. Mike's face twisted with fury. You'll regret this. You selfish bastard. He lunged, but the cafe manager stepped in, raising his voice. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Get off me. Mike shouted as the guy held him back. Dad tried to stand but looked like his knees were about to give. This isn't how you treat family, he spat at me. No, I said, holding his gaze. This is exactly how you deal with poison. I grabbed my coat and slid my phone back into my pocket. I didn't look back. Not at their rage. Not at their broken faces. Not at the mess I left behind. The door shut behind me, and the cold air hit like a slap. But damn, it felt good to breathe. Back home, the quiet was almost sacred. No yelling, no guilt, no fake apologies. Just the soft hum of the fridge and the rain outside. My phone buzzed like I knew it would. Dad, you've ruined this family. Mom, please. Ethan, he's your brother. Just let it go. Mike, you hide behind everyone else. This isn't over. You'll regret it. I leaned back, coffee gone cold, and just sat there. And for the first time in my life, I felt calm. They were right about one thing, it wasn't over. Not yet. But it would be soon. I grabbed my laptop and opened the folder I called my war chest. Everything was in there: bank statements, message logs, voice recordings, and of course, that lovely video of Mike strutting around like I was his personal ATM. I knew exactly what needed to happen. An hour later, I was sitting across from Olivia, my old college friend who just so happened to be a powerhouse attorney now. She flipped through the files, her expression shifting from mildly interested to horrified, then landing squarely on furious. This is ironclad, Ethan, she said. We can go after them for fraud, unjust enrichment, and maybe more. Good, I told her, my voice steady. I want every cent back. The lawsuit hit like a wrecking ball. Mom called first. Her voice was shaky and panicked. Ethan, please. You can't do this. We're family. No, we're not, I said, and hung up. Family doesn't steal from each other. Then Dad tried his usual routine, threats and bluster. So now you're some tough guy, suing your own blood? You think the judge is going to take you seriously? He will, I said flatly. Because you're going to lose. And Mike? He went the route of desperation. Okay, I'll pay you back, he said. Just drop the case. Sure, I replied. With what? The Rolex? Or the car you can't afford? Dead silence. That was all the answer I needed. In court, the truth hit just as hard as I hoped it would. Olivia laid it all out in black and white. Every rent check I covered, every luxury bill I paid, every time Mike cried poor while laughing behind my back. The video played on a screen for everyone to see. Mike, in my apartment, telling his friends how he was bleeding me dry. He shifted in his chair, color draining from his face. Mom sat quietly in the back, sniffling into a tissue. Dad stared dead ahead, jaw tight like a vice. Mike's lawyer tried to spin it. Claimed I had willingly helped my brother. Like I just threw 40 grand at him for fun. But Olivia shut that down. There's a difference between helping family and being emotionally manipulated and financially exploited, she told the court. This isn't generosity. It's fraud. And then came the final nail. We played the audio, Dad's voice, clear and smug. He's weak. Just press him enough and he'll cave. He always does. The judge didn't even blink before swinging that gavel. I rule in favor of the plaintiff. Ryan Parker is ordered to repay $43,000 to Ethan Parker, plus damages for emotional distress. Furthermore, this court finds Mr. Parker's actions were a gross abuse of trust. Mike looked like he'd been hit by a train. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Dad gripped the bench so hard I thought he might snap it in two. Me? I just stood there and let the weight slide off my shoulders. I was free. The fallout was quick. Mike blew up my phone, begging me to work something out. Said he'd pay me back little by little. I blocked him. Dad left a raging voicemail, calling me a traitor, a snake, an embarrassment. I deleted it without even listening to the end. Then Mom showed up, pounding on my door, crying, Ethan, please, don't do this. We can fix this. Please. I watched her through the peephole. She looked small, lost. Her voice cracked and muffled against the door. I walked away. They tried to turn the rest of the family on me. A few cousins sent vague texts, telling me to think it over, like I hadn't already spent years doing that. I ignored every one. Then the word got out. Mike had to sell his fancy car. The one Olivia's family had put money down on. He was bleeding just to stay afloat. Dad tried to dip into his retirement to help, but it wasn't enough. They even went back to court, trying to claim financial hardship to wiggle out of the payments. Olivia shredded their argument. Your son paid for your lifestyle while you ridiculed him. Now it's your turn. The first payment showed up a month later. An automatic transfer. No note. No apology. Just numbers on a screen. But to me, it wasn't about the cash. Every dollar was a quiet victory, a reminder of what I'd reclaimed, not what I lost. I didn't blow it, either. I cleared the last of my student loans, put some in investments, traded my old beater for a clean, efficient car, signed up for a gym, focused on my future. And best of all, the silence. No more desperate calls. No more guilt-laced texts. No more bending over backwards to convince myself I was the problem. One afternoon, I spotted Olivia, Mike's ex-fiancée, sitting alone at a small cafe near downtown. She caught my eye and gave me a soft smile, then waved me over. I hesitated, then walked up. I'm sorry, she said simply, her voice gentle, eyes a little sad but kind. You don't owe me an apology, I replied. We sat and talked for a bit. It wasn't awkward. It was honest. She told me she'd left Mike for good, cut all ties. She was rebuilding her life on her own terms this time. I told her I was doing the same. And I was. But as I left, something settled in my chest. A heaviness I hadn't expected. Not regret exactly, just a quiet ache. Because winning didn't feel like some grand triumph. It didn't come with a parade or a movie ending. It felt more like letting go of a part of me I'd held onto for too long, some version of myself that had always believed I could fix them. Maybe I wasn't just fighting them all this time. Maybe I was fighting the fear of being alone. That night, back in my quiet apartment, the one that finally felt like mine, I sat in front of my laptop and opened a blank document. I didn't write to them. I wrote to myself. Dear Ethan, you are not a wallet. You are not a punching bag. You are not their savior. You are you. And you are finally free. I saved it. Closed the lid. Sat back in my chair and smiled, just a little. Outside, the rain tapped gently against the window. Not loud. Not angry. Just soft. Steady. And for once, it wasn't a storm. It was just rain. Quiet. Peaceful. Mine.